Do you have questions about your health? Do you need to find out what's keeping you from feeling your absolute best? If so, your intuition has guided you to the right place. I am Dr. Charlize, and welcome to the Art of Healing podcast community. In this podcast, we explore all topics in health and wellness, from Reiki to functional medicine, energy medicine, chakras, and meditation. Join me every week for fresh new episodes that highlight healers, various healing modalities, and use this as your opportunity to find what healing works best for you. If you want to learn more about me, simply Google at Dr. Charlize. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Art of Healing podcast. This is Charlize. Today's episode will be brief to announce that we will be taking a break on the Art of Healing podcast. I did want to make sure before we part ways for the spring and reconvene in the summer that you are aware of all of the ways that we can stay connected. This podcast has been around for a few years now, and there's several episodes that you can catch up on. So if you are just now catching it and you're a little interested, if you tune in to any major podcast carrier, so I believe should be on, iHeartRadio, the Amazon Music app has podcast streaming, really just any major podcast carrier, you should be able to find all of the previous episodes. My main website, healingartshealthandwellness.com, has a podcast page, which is the Art of Healing podcast, which you can also tune into there if you are wanting to hear some of the past episodes. And let's see, where else can you find it? Really just any major podcast carrier. And as well, in the show notes, I'll place links to some of the more popular episodes that have really helped me to connect with many of you. Along with my website, healingartshealthandwellness.com, which hosts several blog posts, articles, resources, and training courses, several which are free, several which do cost some because they're certification courses. I have a weekly newsletter. So every Friday, I send out goodies, information. Most of the time I send out an episode of the podcast, but like I said, we're taking a little bit of a break. So I also put in the show notes if you would like to sign up to be on the list to get updates every week on everything that's going on and what's coming next. Beyond the podcast, I have two ways to work with me individually. So I have a functional medicine practice, and part of why we're going to need a break during the summer is that I'm working with my patients, and the style of the practice is it's a very individualized, personalized approach using functional medicine. And I would like to have some weeks to devote to developing their plans. Enrollment in the functional medicine practice is ongoing and it is open for this summer. So if you navigate to the show notes and you'll see drcharlize.com, you'll see information on the membership plans or how you can work with me. This is a medical practice, so there are some restrictions. I have to practice in states that I hold licenses. And so if you look in the show notes, I'll put some of those details. If you were looking for a functional medicine doctor, if you reside in a state that I can legally practice in, we can discuss how to connect with a connection call. So if you look in the show notes, I'll put there how we can connect if you're interested in working with me. And I'll also put some resources as far as functional medicine, if that's new to you, or if you're wanting to learn more about that approach. My other service is Reiki healing. So I have a Reiki studio that is located in Oklahoma City, and I also work with Reiki clients anywhere in the world. So Reiki can be done in person or can be done online, can be done virtually. and actually can be done without us actually talking or being on video. If you are interested in Reiki, I will put on the show notes how you could schedule or to learn more about Reiki services. Also, along with my Reiki services, I am going to start offering Reiki training live. I do have an online Reiki course for anyone that's wanting to get started, and I strongly encourage that if you're being called to Reiki, that you start your training right away, because if you're being called to it, it's for a reason, and you won't regret starting your Reiki training. So in the show notes, I'll put on there how you can start Reiki certification with my self-paced program. And then if you're interested in doing a live training program, I'm collecting information to figure out how we can best do that course, because I've so blessed. I have connections here locally and I have connections across the world. I had a chance to talk, interact, chat with many of you who don't even live in my country, which is so cool. To start that planning, I will put a sign-up sheet if you are interested in learning about how to do a Reiki course, Reiki 1 certification live with me. The Art of Healing podcast typically comes out about once a week. Of course, during this break, there won't be any new episodes, so I encourage you to go back and listen to old ones if you are interested. Once a month, we are meeting for a live masterclass, and the topic changes depending on our individual needs, what we want to discuss, because so far the topics have been requested by the Art of Healing community. It's so cool. So we just completed a masterclass this past weekend. There will be a class coming up in June, in July, and August. If you are wanting to attend those, they're by Zoom. You can dial in, you can watch by video, you can also sign up to get a recording of the call. I would recommend signing up for my newsletter, and that way when the announcement comes out, when the next course is coming live, you'll know. In June will be a special class in which there will be a collaboration between me and a previous guest, Kathy Harmon-Luber. She and I have worked together several times now. It's been a blessing that we can come together as both Reiki masters, then combining our shared interest of healing. And what we've done in the past is offered sound healing and Reiki energy together. And so we'll be doing that in June. And I don't think you'll want to miss that. It's going to be special. If you'll sign up for my weekly newsletter, that's going to be the best way to find out when those live courses will be. Also, I am on social media, and the social media handle at Dr. Charlize should direct you to where I'm at on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and I think LinkedIn. And I do post on those platforms regularly. So during this break, I will wish you well, although the podcast will not be live. The podcast will be here, definitely. And even though the podcast episodes won't be coming out weekly, my newsletter, social media, blog post will be there weekly. And as soon as the podcast is coming back, I will announce it. In between now and when the show comes back, if you're wanting to connect, you should send me an email, charlize@healingartshealthandwellness.com. Check out either one of my websites. And of course, if you are really wanting to get to that next level, feeling ready to connect, schedule a connection call with me. I do want to say that having been on both sides, having been listening to someone and wondering if I should connect and maybe it's not the right time, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but the connection call is a great time to connect with me individually. It's free. I'm expecting to hear from people. I love to chat individually. And even if all you want to do is just talk to me and see what the vibe is, I strongly encourage it, because just for selfish reasons, I benefit. It helps me to connect, because in this world, especially with me being a podcaster and blogging, the communication tends to get a little one directional. So if you are on the fence and thinking, do I want to talk with her, but I'm not sure, schedule a call. I think it'll go very well. So until we meet again on the Art of Healing podcast, look for new episodes to come back likely middle of June. I will wish you well. I'm sending you love, sending you Reiki. I am still here, so don't forget you can find me on other platforms, and we will connect soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining during this episode of the Art of Healing podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a review. Also, you can check your show notes to find out how to get a copy of this and future episodes emailed directly to your inbox, available to listen to anytime. Finally, if you have questions or wish to connect to me, check your show notes to find out how we can get connected and find out how I can be of service to you.